I invite you to remain standing while I invite Mrs. Chanel Malcolm to open us the word of prayer.
Let's bow our head. Dear Heavenly and Gracious Father, Father, we thank you, O God, for bringing us together in this seminar this morning, O God. Father, we thank you, O God, for life. We thank you, O God, for our work and our jobs. Father, we thank you, O God, for this awareness of this seminar. Mighty God, this morning I pray, O God, that this morning's seminar will be edifying to every person that comes, mighty God, and the outcome at the end will be a good effort for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Bless all the participants, all the presenters, and team Jaric St. Vincent. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
You may now have your seats. On behalf of Jaric St. Vincent Ltd, I warmly welcome you to the 2025 Safe Driver 784 Road Safety Seminar in recognition of World Road Safety Week. Thank you for joining us as we focus on this year's theme, Safe Vehicles Save Lives. World Road Safety Week reminds us that road safety is a shared responsibility. Today's seminar aims to raise awareness about vehicle safety, highlight modern safety technologies, and encourage regular maintenance and responsible driving. As the only certified defensive driving provider in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are committed to preparing drivers for safer roads and supporting safer communities. We are grateful to our partners, sponsors, and all participants here today. Your presence demonstrates a strong commitment to improving road safety and protecting lives. I encourage you to engage fully, learn, and share as we work together towards safer roads and safer vehicles for all. In the spirit of safety and the festive season, we are also proud to be launching our Christmas Fire Safety Promotion, a smoke alarm and fire extinguisher in every home. This initiative is designed to help families and organizations stay protected throughout the holiday season and beyond. It is a timely reminder that safety extends beyond the road. It begins at home and in the workplace. At the back of the room, you will find a display of fire extinguishers and our new digital heat and smoke alarms that can easily be monitored right on your cell phones, but we'll get into that a little bit later. And as we begin keeping things engaging, and in the spirit of Christmas, we would also be doing giveaways at the end of today's seminar. We'll be asking a few questions related to road safety and fire safety. Jaric team would, give you a little bit more information as we go along, so pay close attention, participate for a chance to win, just keep listening. Now back to road safety. We are honored to have representation from the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, Superintendent Mr. Parnell Brown. Mr. Brown hails from Overland and began his education at Etobicoke Government School before continuing on to the Bishop's College, Kingstown. He joined the police force in 1990 and has since served with distinction across multiple divisions throughout the state. Superintendent Brown has undergone extensive professional training locally and internationally, including accident reconstruction and investigation, international leadership and management, strategic management, and mass casualty response, among others. With over 3 decades of dedicated service, he currently serves as an officer in charge of the traffic branch, where he continues to lead national efforts in promoting safe, responsible, and efficient road use. Please welcome Mr. Parnell Brown.
Good morning, everyone. Whew. I am indeed happy to be alive, to be here this morning to share with you some useful thoughts and how we can make ourselves safer while using our roads. Many of you might know me in person. You might have the opportunity to work with me, whether through national coordination, through NEMO, and other stakeholders. You might have the opportunity to work with me as a police, and now you're an ex-police officer. Probably have had the opportunity to interact with me during accident or during your day-to-day activity with police that are immediately attached to the traffic department. You might be dissatisfied with the way a police officer would have spoken to you that is attached to my department. Hence, you would have come to seek dialogue or redress as to how you can be more comfortable and how you should be treated by our police officers. But this morning I am not here to do that. I am here on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, who afforded me the opportunity to come to speak to drivers, members from the insurance companies, members from Braxa. I have recognized Braxa sent a large contingent here this morning. Same as they want their drivers to be safe and to adhere to the rules. I must big up Jaric, St. Vincent Ltd. I don't know if that is the correct heading for them. Right. Now, we are celebrating Road Safety Week 2025 under the theme Safe Vehicle Save Lives. Safe vehicle save lives. I have not seen any mechanic. I am seeing some roadside mechanic here who believe that they are competent enough to ensure that all the mechanical appliances on the vehicle or vehicles are working. Safe vehicle save life. I am going to take it piece by piece. As a law enforcement officer, I know a vehicle to be mechanically propelled. It cannot move forward except it have an engine and the engine is engaged, and the other mechanical fittings will carry it forward. So a vehicle in the description of the law, it has to be mechanically propelled. So a cart is not a vehicle. So the cart that the cartman pushed through town to make his day-to-day living, it is not a vehicle. It is mechanically propelled. Now, safe vehicles are more than convenient. They are life-saving, as well as they afford you, as a living being, the opportunity to move from one area to another, because it is mechanically propelled. It is not like the horse who will pull the cart. That is not a vehicle. But the law gives protections to the horse and the donkey and the cart that normally be on our roads. Well, not in St. Vincent, but I have seen it in different Caribbean countries. It is our responsibility to enforce rules and to build a culture compliance with the everyday running of the law. So as a law enforcement officer, I am charged with the responsibility, or we are charged with the responsibility of ensuring that your vehicle is in keeping with the law. And mind you, if there isn't a component of the law, or if the law is not fully applied, we wouldn't have so much beautiful people here today, because some reckless person might have used their vehicle as a weapon and run you over. So because of the law, and the lawmakers were very particular when drafting the laws that governs motor vehicle and our roadway. Mind you, I'm a strong advocate of the insurance company. I am not attached to any insurance company, but they have a very important part to play. And later on, we will see how important they are when it comes to the day-to-day running of your motor vehicle, and to protect also lives and property. A safe vehicle reduces risk. It prevents crashes and protects lives. The condition in which a vehicle appears on the road will determine the person who are in charge or responsible for its running. Now, mechanics, I can say this without any apology, sometimes believe that the customer or the owner of a motor vehicle owe it to them, and they will fix your vehicle in any old way so that you could always come back to put money in their pocket. It is against the law. It is an offense. If a customer take their vehicle to your mechanic shop for whatever repairs, and you somewhat defeat or you do not fix the vehicle in the way that you're supposed to fix it, and in collecting the vehicle, the customer observe that it is in a worse condition, or the condition that he or she collects their vehicle from you, it is not better, they can go to the police and make a report, or they can put you in court privately. So I want mechanic, or the whether you're a mechanic or you do mechanic or mechanic engineer, I don't know, but I want you to know that you have a duty to ensure that your customer vehicle is fixed and it is in compliance with the law. You cannot fix a vehicle with the intention that 2 months after, the customer have to come back to you because you're not giving them the right parts, or you're not fixing it in such a way that it will ensure that the driver and the occupants and other persons using the road are safe. You have a duty of care. That is why the person or the owner of the vehicle trusted you so much to bring their vehicle to your mechanic garage to have it been repaired. Right, Mr. Mapp? I see Mr. Lavelle Mapp. He's a mechanic. He used to be a police officer. And I believe he's competent enough. Maybe you don't mind having him call. Now, what I want you to do is that at the conclusion of my presentation, I am not going to present long. But, you know, sometimes the approach that we take in this forum is to get feedback from the audience, because you might be toiling with something that you really need clarity on, and it's an opportunity for you to get clarity to something that you have boiling inside you. It might not be directly connected to the topic that we are speaking on, but it will have some connection because you're dealing with vehicle and passengers. and drivers. Vehicle safety is not just protecting yourself or it's about keeping everyone on the road safe. I'm going to share with you some points today as to how you're going to make yourself safer while using our roads. But before I go into that, as the head of the traffic department, we have statistics to give us an idea as to whether or not the accident situation or accident or incident that happen on our road are on the decline or on the increase. In some instances, the country might have activities that might heighten persons in the environment, to do things untowards or not becoming a wise and prudent driver. Hence, they put themselves at risk and other persons at risk also. But we at the traffic department who have that statistics, or those statistics, I'm going to share with you in brief. We have 10,000 persons living in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It might be less because apparently the ladies have become so health conscious that they start make babies. And it cannot replenish the amount of persons dying every day, because the amount of persons dying, it's like more than the persons, the babies that are born in every day. So the ladies want to look in tip-top shape to attract the opposite sex. So they believe to themselves that making babies will put them out of that narrative, but it would not. I have seen some people who, before they got involved in making babies, they're very mager. You know, as the old people will say, mager, they're not thing. But as soon as they bring forth fruits, you could see the blessing. They start expanding in terms of the overall look and health. Sometimes you need that baby to break the spell. But no offense to the ladies, you're beautiful just the way you are. But just mean that having one or two children enhances your overall look and appearance to the persons who are looking. And they see that you're not barren, you can bring forth good fruits. Yes. So, as I am saying, is that we need to replenish. If you notice, the amount of vehicles we have here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is over 35,000. Now look at the ratio. We have over 35,000 vehicles here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines on the road. I am not saying that we could have more than 35,000, because there are persons who have their vehicles off the road for some mechanical defects or fault, and they are just waiting for that part or the engine to come to retrofit it in order to bring it back on the road. But 110,000 persons, 35,000 vehicles. The roadway in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that were established centuries or decades ago, they are not improving. And we are seeing sometimes, I make this call the last time I was here doing a similar speech, is that government have their part to play in ensuring that the roadway is built in such a way that motorists and pedestrians alike are safe. I am seeing some construction of some roadway. I don't think it is up to the standard, but that is for the it's for those persons who have the responsibility. But I also have a responsibility to advise the Minister of Transport and the Transport Board as to the condition of our roads and how I want to see them. You understand? So when you call me 6 o'clock in the evening and tell me, officer, these people in Calico will kill people. This new piece of road that they build, they're speeding too much. I have a duty of care. I have a responsibility to inform the Commissioner of Police and the Minister in charge of Transport as to the reports I'm getting and advise them as to what is best. You understand? So if you call, I ain't see anything happen yet, I ain't keep the information to myself. The information is being sent forward to the relevant persons. So if they're a little slow in reacting, be patient. Patient is virtue. I don't know if that exists today, but it is virtue. In 2023, we had a total of 545 motor vehicle accidents reported to the police. 545. We're a little place like St. Vincent where so much accident. And what is the main contributor to these accidents? Negligence. We have since become so selfish and so self-centered that we doesn't even extend the common courtesy to somebody coming out from a by road to come onto the main. I have seen occasions where the person who's coming out from the by road, half of the vehicle is on the main, and people on the main is swerving around. Instead of staying there to allow the vehicle to come out, they swerve around the vehicle to come to proceed towards where they want to go. How much it will take from you to be courteous to other road users? It won't take not much. It might delay you a split second, but that might be for your own safety, because 2 minutes down the road, 2 seconds down the road, somebody come up, unfortunately they run into your side. And you say, if maybe no, I could have stopped and I won't have been in that position here now. That is destiny. You have to extend some level of courtesy and patience while driving on our roads. In 2024, we have 504 motor vehicle accidents reported. So we're not going below the 500 mark. We have 500 club and up in terms of road accident. You are creating tremendous strain on your family or families and the state, also the insurance companies. And you're going to ask me, officer, what do you know about that? Because I'm a citizen living in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I'm actively involved in every aspect of human existence and the way how they operate. That is why I'm a superintendent of police today. One, you cause strain on your family. You're the main breadwinner, and you're going to get in an accident. An accident that wasn't called for. You want to prove to your friends that you didn't lose your manhood. And you go down the road and you show yourself because a crowd of females or students or people are there. And you want to display your ignorance to say that you're a competent driver. You don't display that already when you go before the police. You have no reason to prove any other point to anybody else that you can drive. So you go and you do all kind of scratchy, you do all kind of thing. And during that time, the tire become defective. And you rev your engine so hard that something inside the bus and oil start to leak out on the road, and you're not aware of what is happening. But somebody drive up now, and the oil spill that your vehicle would have deposited on the road caused the driver to lose control of another vehicle that is so innocent. Hence, he or she run into whether person standing up looking, waiting for public service transport, or they're driving, going with their family somewhere. And you injured people. Injure yourself. Now we are self-employed. Because you're a mechanic, you're a farmer. And you're the main breadwinner. Your wife or girlfriend they were so fruitful that they multiply their home on maternity leave, or their home not being able to go to catch a dollar. But you're the main breadwinner and you're sick. You have children to send to school. Or you're working with the government. You hold some key role in some department where your day-to-day work heavily depend on the progress of certain things or certain aspect or certain thing in the country. And because of that setback, everybody is like, we're going back. So it pays to be courteous. It pays to be prudent as a driver using our roads. In 2025, mind you, in 2024 we had 9 road fatalities. 9 persons would have lost their lives because of accident. And you might say, officer, that is a small figure. It's 9 persons too many. In 2025, as we stand or sit here now, we have 560. The year ain't finished yet. And we have surpassed 2023, 2024 in terms of road accident. I am calling on Jaric to do more than what you're doing. I am calling on the insurance company to act and to make the customer aware as to the burden it places on them. You might say, I pay insurance, but you pay your insurance, yes. So if the insurance company had to cover you based on what you pay $500 for a coverage, and one part for a motor vehicle is $500. The hybrid vehicles that they're bringing in now, one light is $1,000. So if $500 I pay to the insurance company, that don't spend already. So you see the burden it creates not only on you, but other agencies. In 2025, so far we have 7 road fatalities being reported to the police. So we have the couple of days left in November and the whole of December. But 560 is way too many. It's an indication of where society is. I could remember, I don't want anybody to quote me or to link me to any political party, but I could remember one leader said, we need a kinder, gentler society. You have to research to know who said that. I'm not going to tell you. But if we have a kinder, gentler society, we wouldn't have all these road accidents. persons will be a little bit more caring. Let out the man. I experienced an incident not too long ago, last month. I was coming down on Argyle just before you catch the entrance to the airport. A lady was in front of me. I don't know what she was doing, but I could see she wasn't driving at the speed or at the rate that I want to go. So I indicated and kick to pass. And as soon as I get alongside her, she accelerated. I could never forget the number there. Never forget the number. She accelerated and I slowed down and I pulled him back behind her. When she reached on the other side, she started to drive slow again. So I said, well, if you want to play games, let's play some games. And I did play some games that morning. But it wasn't the best thing to do. Because when I get the opportunity to pass, I pass. If you are going at a speed and somebody that you are not hurry, somebody is driving behind you and they want to pass, allow them to pass. Don't speed up. We have seen where the obstruction is on your side and people don't, the word wait does not exist in some drivers' vocabulary. I am telling you. The obstruction is on your side and you're speeding up to clear the obstruction and there's oncoming traffic. How could you be so reckless? How can you be so reckless? The obstruction on your side, slow down and stop. Wait until the vehicles pass and then you proceed. All this we have to deal with as a driver. So in order to meet the threshold of a wise and prudent driver, there are a lot of things that you have to adhere to and ensure that you are not a contributor to any unnecessary accident or incident while driving on our roads. Safe to protect or expose to danger. Safe vehicle save lives. Safe protect or not to expose to danger or risk. Not likely to be harm or lost. When you're safe, you're not exposed to danger or any risk. You're not likely to get harmed or, in this case, get killed. Vehicle is a mechanically propelled device. It's designed to transport people or goods. Safe vehicle. Save to keep safe from harm or destruction. Lives. The condition that distinguishes plant and animal from inorganic matters. It includes the capacity to grow or reproduce. In simple, our theme, safe vehicle, save lives. Some points that can make you safer while using our roads. Routine maintenance of your motor vehicle. This will help identify failure or parts that are worn. Mind you, you have to have a good relationship with your mechanic, eh? You have to have a good relationship with your mechanic. I could remember I took my vehicle to a mechanic one day. And I took the vehicle from the mechanic around 3 o'clock. Going towards Camden Park. When I got in the deep corner there, I see a wheel going down in front of me. So I say, who could be so reckless, let go this wheel and vehicle come in? Not knowing it's my vehicle wheel. So when I turn the corner, the vehicle go on one side like this. So I call the mechanic. I say, boy, how is it that my wheel break off? It was my negligence also. The wheel not ended by the mechanic, and I go in with the vehicle. The wheel nut for the back wheel was by the mechanic while I was going Camden Park with the vehicle, and he said that the vehicle was finished. I don't know if it was deliberate, which I don't believe, but that is why I say you have to have a good relationship with your mechanic. Have to. Because they're going to roast up something and give you, and it can cause loss of lives. So you have to have a good relationship with your mechanic. You have to have a functional safety system. You have air brakes, you have all kind of brakes. You have seat belts, you have electronic safety device that will give you warning on your motor vehicle. So, and ladies, I don't want you to sell yourself short. Ask the people them questions. Just like when you go doctor, and the doctor give you some tablet and you know what, ask them, Doc, is this medication just going to suppress my situation, or is going to make me get better? And the doctor will say, well, we'll have to try and see what is going to take place after you take your medication. The mechanic, you're driving. I don't think all men sometimes know the warning devices that are alarms that are on their vehicle either. You're driving and you're paying attention. Don't pay attention to your phone. Pay attention to the dashboard of your motor vehicle. Make sure that when you start your engine at mornings, all the lights are off, except those that are supposed to be on. Map, what lights supposed to be on the dashboard, if any? Handbrakes. The handbrake light is only going to be on if you're at a standstill. Until you're ready to move your select drive, you have to depress your handbrake, and then the dashboard will be clear. You're driving your motor vehicle, don't pay attention to your phone. Pay attention to the dashboard. No one get a glimpse to see if any light come on, because you could just leave home and the light come on. You see a light looking like something like a motor. There's a check engine light. When you have the opportunity, call a mechanic. Mechanic, I see a yellow light come on here. It look like a little engine or look like a something like. I can't describe it, but it's on. There's a check engine light. Or you might see the handbrake light blinking. It might give you an idea that either your brakes liquid is low or your brake is low or some sort of thing. Pay attention to your motor vehicle. You have to have a good relationship with your motor vehicle. Because if you don't have a good relationship with your motor vehicle, it's going to leave you. So everything is about a good relationship. You have to have a good relationship with your motor vehicle, with your mechanic, with your insurance, and with the police. Also the bank. Right? So, you have to know your vehicle and have a good relationship with your motor vehicle in order, because all of this come with safe, Safe vehicle, save lives. That is the theme. So if your motor vehicle is not safe, you are not safe, your passengers are not safe, and persons who are using the road are not safe either because of your faulty vehicle. And if you have a good relationship with your vehicle, you will want to fix the defects because it will break down on you or it will leave you on the road. Because if you doesn't have a good relationship with yourself and you doesn't fix when you're sick, you're going to break down. You're going to be bedridden. So you have to fix what is broken. If it is not broken, don't fix it. So you have to have a good relationship with your vehicle, with your mechanic, in order to have a proper working vehicle that is safe and it will save lives. So, you cannot have a defective vehicle while driving on our roads because the law speaks about defective. You cannot have your vehicle driving on the road and the front bumper is missing. The headlights are missing. The back bumper is missing. One fender is missing. That exposes the wheel. And there's a reason why the manufacturers make the vehicle. Time up? Time? Okay. I almost extinguished all my time, so I am going to be very short. I don't want to encroach on the other speakers' time. So, I am going to, you're not supposed to be driving your vehicle with all these parts missing because the law says it is an offense. The law says the vehicle must be equipped with two headlights to the front, one on the right, one on the left. It must have all the mechanical effects in place in order to drive on the road. So when the police, you have your bumper off, which exposes all the engine parts and so on in front there. You have the lights out, or you have one light out. You say two, never say one. You have everything. You have the number plate should be affixed in an upright position, in a conspicuous. Nothing should be blocking it. Not on the bonnet here, not inside by the windscreen on the dashboard. You have so much of things that you're falling short of every day. And sometimes, as soon as the police doesn't even have intention to ticket you. Right, Colleen? They even have intention to ticket you. They just want to alert you as to what you're falling short of. And sometimes you respond to the police alone, you drive him or her. Okay, all right, since you want to be like this, let me just do what I am supposed to do as a police officer in giving you a ticket. This topic is so wide that I want to speak to you the whole day on safe vehicle, save lives. I think they will have to get another day for the other speakers. Because it is important. And from a police perspective, we have to ensure that we enlighten you as to the do's and the don'ts about your vehicle to make it safer for yourself, for your passengers, and for the other road users. So if we have to forego lunch also, we're going to do that. Right. Your motor vehicle should be free from all defects, because if your vehicle is not safe, you are not safe either. Your tires, I ain't seen nobody from them company there. Jaric, you're falling short. You need to bring people from the people who are selling the tires. Because if you have to purchase a tire from a company and it is placed on your motor vehicle and it is defective, you could buy a new tire and it is defective because it will have a bulge. As long as it changes the original dimension or shape of the tire, it is defective. It might have a burst to the side, and I notice the hand cook. I'm a vehicle man, you know. I notice the hand cook. They're very good. But as time goes on, when you have them on your motor vehicle, you could see to the side, they have some cracks on it. That is defect. Those are tire defects. And if the police give you a ticket, they are well within their rights. All them cracks on the tire. Because if you happen to drop in a pothole are all over the place. And the weight of your vehicle based on what you're carrying. And you know some people are very hefty. Right, Corridon? Right, some people are very hefty. And your vehicle happen to drop down in a pothole. It can burst the tire. Defect. So I will hope that the message reaches the persons who are selling tires, the companies who are selling tires, that you can't be selling defective. And you know sometimes these used tires that you buy, they might look all well and good that you have good beads. But examine them properly when you put them on your vehicle. There is a very good, there is one of the main contributor. Because your tires have no grip on the road. I'm not advertising for Shallow, who say they have Road Max and all sort of tire. And they have for all occasions. But which one is the tire you're going to buy? If you have to buy tire for all occasions, you have to have separate tires home for when rain comes in and when the sun is hot and so on and so forth. We don't have snow, but we have oil spills sometimes. So, you have to equip your vehicle with good tires. You want good shoes to wear. You don't wear a shoe with hole under the bottom because when you walk, water going to wet your foot and you're going to catch cold. You're going to make you sick. It's like the vehicle. You have to treat them good. If you ain't treat yourself good or if you ain't treat the vehicle good, they would be unkind to your pocket. So you have to have regular maintenance check on your motor vehicle. Regular maintenance check on your motor vehicle for defects. One, it saves lives. Two, it prevents you from spending additional or well-needed cash that can be spent on something else. Because If your motor vehicle is defective and the police caught you, it's a ticket. $75 if you are going to pay the ticket before the 21 days expires. And if you decide that, boy, I'm going to challenge this man here. He look like he care. $80. 75 is for 70 is for another offense. I forgot. 80. So if you are going to challenge the police, you say, boy, I go take my chance and win in court. Now, mind you, when you go to court, the magistrate or the judge would take into consideration the opportunity you had to pay the 80. And if you are found guilty, the fine will go up. You will not allow, you not be allowed. If you're not afforded the opportunity to pay the $80, he might or he may charge you $80. But if you were given the opportunity and you didn't pay the $80, might be at $250. Might be. But it will not be 80. So, and then that $250 or 80, you have to take, it would have been spent to send the kids to school, provide lunch or dinner, also, or to take it to the doctor to do a pap smear or some kind of test, because this week, ladies, is cervical cancer awareness week, so you have to take care of your health. You understand? For those of you who don't listen to radio, listen to Health Word every morning at 7:05, and you're going to know 5 minutes to 7, and you're going to know where Health Word touching. This week, they're touching on cervical cancer and how it can be prevented. That is not part of the topic, but but it save lives. You understand? Right. So, we are seeing. Mr. Pitan, how are you, man? We are seeing how paying attention to your vehicle saves lives, and it also saves your pocket and saves property. Okay, protects property also. Now, we have persons are driving their motor vehicles on our roads. And for no reason at all, you find them speeding unnecessarily. They are driving on our roads, and if the vehicle is giving them warning, they're not paying attention to it because they can't hear or they can't see, because their whole attention is caught up in either loud and aggressive music or cellular phone. Some unknown thing, they always, motorists always find a way of engaging themselves other than paying attention to the road and driving. 90% of us normally do that. I say us, which includes me. And we have the number one killer, cellular phone. Number one. Number two is music. Number three is children. And the list goes on. Because you have your children in the back seat, and they're doing all sort of things behind it. They let loose, because they're in my vehicle. And the time you take to spin around, boy, behave, you hear, badam! And here what happened now? You're not being truthful in telling the police the truth or the insurance company the truth. You're not being truthful. The cell phone ring, and you take it up, and during the time you take it up, it drop from you on the floor, where your feet are, where the paddles for the vehicle are, the brake and the accelerator. Well, most of you don't drive standard, like only people like Kobo and the people in Van Baxter and so on and so forth. Have the 3 paddle, the clutch, the brakes, and the X. And watch you now. Because here what happened? The call is so important and the phone that you're going, "Ugh." And by the time you stretch down, you're losing control. Because the balance that you have on your feet, you ever sit down in your car and you turn in the car and you don't have balance? If you never do that, you're not a driver. If you never have balance in your seat sitting down while driving a vehicle, you're not a driver. Sometimes you have balance. No, naturally. Much less to go and, it's like you're taking up one hand on the steering and the hand that is not holding the steering firm enough. And you're not seeing far ahead enough. Hence, it's a form of distraction and you're getting an accident. I want to see who is going to tell the insurance company or the police. Man, my cell phone dropped and I was taking up my cell phone. Proudly. Who can do that? Or who will want to do that? You're not being truthful. Sometimes the truth hurts. But the truth is the truth. You understand? So we have some distractions that can be avoided. You understand? And must be avoided. The last of your child should be in a child restraint seat in the back seat of the vehicle. So get a car seat, bolt it up in the back seat, not to the front. And I see some parents, husband or whosoever driving, and somebody in the front passenger seat, and the child hug up in a lap. And he reach over now and again and touch the steering, and so on. Dangerous. Your vehicle is not safe when all of these things are happening. When you have your child or children in the back seat and they're pushing out their hands to the window and you check your side mirror and you see that, pull aside and stop or tell the child, sit down. They should be. King? Station Sergeant Corridon? What age the last say? The child should be sitting on their own. Or they should be in a child restraint seat. Up to what age? You hear that? So when you have your 3 and 4-year-old, how could it, and you know, you think that you're doing something right for the child. Little did you know, you are creating an avenue. You are creating the avenue for destruction. Because if you have to hit a sudden brake, what will happen to the child? He or she is going to come forward, is either hit the back of the seat that is in front of them or straight through the windscreen. That is why they say wear your seat belt. The seat belt prevents you from going forward to hit your head on the windscreen or to go through the windscreen. You see so much things we just take for granted? Look at the amount of things that we just take for granted. And when you get into accident, you fabricate some story, and you go to the insurance company and they pay $500, and you want them to pay out $5,000 and more dollars for something that could be avoided. And you're going to say, I am not unfair to the insurance company. They take a risk to insure my vehicle at $500. But if they tell you $5,000, you're going to bawl upon them. Because when you claim and they do investigation, you claim triple that sometimes. So where they get the money from? You're going to say, officer, well, they have to find the means of getting the money. When I pay my $500, they have to deposit in a some account so that the interest can grow. So that they could pay out. That is not the way it works, man. you have to be responsible. You, as the operator of your motor vehicle, have to be more responsible. You understand? So don't go out there and create the avenue where you are going to make yourself unsafe and other persons unsafe. You have to do better than that. Because when the police do their investigation, and mind you, let me alert you, I should do that. The police have installed some cameras now. They're picking up your number plate. They're picking up every day in your vehicle. I try to feed your child while you're driving, they might pick up that too. So all of that is being recorded at their headquarters. And when Sergeant King come on the accident scene and he observe, he does be so glad because there's a camera there to assist him with his investigation. And you tell him a story. When he go and he get the footage, he's seen something completely different. Your credibility gone down there so. Your credibility gone down there because he's seen something completely different to what you say. Now, if that information is shared with the insurance company, what do you think will happen to you? So you see, insurance company, you have to be more cooperative with the police. Colleen, don't say that. You have to be, and here what happened, we have to work together. The insurance company, the police, and the vehicle owners have to work together. I don't think the police deliberately go out there to investigate, to prosecute people. They just want the facts and the truth as to how something occur. But when you fabricate a story, when you give somebody your vehicle to drive who have not obtained their certificate of competence or their driver's license, and after the crash, after the accident, you swiftly change seat to avoid the truth be told, that is being dishonest. It is being dishonest. When you get into an accident and you run from your vehicle and go home, and somebody who was not there come and tell the police that they were the driver and can't give a true assessment as to how the accident occurred, that is being dishonest also. Come on. You have to do better than that. We're talking about safe vehicle, save lives. And you might ask me, how does that driver thing come in to save vehicle and save life? If you are not a licensed driver, it's obvious you're going to be on edge while driving on our roads because you want to avoid the police. You understand? If you are going to drive to avoid the police, you are going to drive either without due care and attention, dangerous, or in a manner without due care and attention, or reckless. Because you want to drive to avoid the police. And during the time you are doing that, you are not going to make yourself safe, the vehicle will not be safe, and other persons will not be safe because you are trying to evade the police because you are not legit. That is how it comes in. You're making the vehicle unsafe because you're not a licensed driver. Your vehicle is not insured. Because once you're not a licensed driver, the vehicle is automatically uninsured because the insurance company do not cover unlicensed driver. So, hence, it pays for the driver, the owner of the motor vehicle, to operate your vehicle safe in order for it to save lives. I realize that I have gone past my time. I really want to spend the whole day because I feel like talking. I feel like talking and I have a good audience. Honestly, when you have a passion for something, this is how it happens, I see why the politicians love to talk, because when they have the forum to display, they display. So if I'm not a politician, I'm a police and I'm bringing good information to you, why should I don't want to talk? You might say I'm a politician in the making. That could be true. But for now, I'm a police. So I have to give you the necessary information that is needed to make you and your family safer while using our roads. You understand? We have seen where, and I believe God spare life very soon, we are going to do some enforcement with some trucks. You know, every morning, and I'm going to bind, remember I just told you a while ago about the health ward? Every morning, 6 minutes past 7, after world news, a police from the traffic department does be on traffic talk, giving you useful tips. It is important that if you want to skip BBC World News, you could do that. But make sure when it is 5 minutes to 7, you put your radio on 7:05, get the health ward. It is very important. They give you the facts. They give you how you can make yourself healthier. Because if you're not healthy, you can't be safe while using our roads. Because if you're sick, you are going to, with a slouch, you are going to do something. You're going to feel weak. You can't be safe if you're driving and you're sick. After health ward is world news. And after world news is traffic tips on 7:05. Okay? It is important that you listen on 7:05, 6 minutes past 7 at mornings. And at 7:45 on 99.9. It's just for the repeat on 99. Well, it is live too. But I don't think they would have ever say the same thing that they say on 7:05 and 99. Some part of it might change. But we do have educational programs on radio, and you could tune in to those radio stations at mornings or log in to the traffic Facebook page, and you will get your tips and so on there as to how to make yourself safer while using our roads. Safe vehicle save lives. One accident is too many. Let us be courteous. Let us be more accommodative while using our roads. And in so doing, we are going to make ourselves safer as motorists, as pedestrians, as passengers, as owners and drivers. I want to open the floor to anyone who have any question based on what I would have said, or even though it is not, just be discreet and just be any question from anybody in the audience as to something they're not sure of or they're not clear on, ask me, and I will provide you the answer if I can. If I can't, I will ask Sergeant King or Station Sergeant Corridon to give you the answer, because they are my second and third men. Station Sergeant Corridon is my second man, and Sergeant King is the man who does assist me also, the third man. It's very important that we ask the questions, you know. This forum calls for that. And I hope Jaric can vex with me, because it is not a talk-down forum. You don't talk down to people and believe that they must just come and listen to you and you can't listen to them. So it is problem solving also. Jaric, I want to thank you very much for this opportunity. Yes, Mr. Stapleton.
Yes, and I want to endorse, our congratulations to Derek as well, Jaric, for
Jaric.
for this awesome workshop. Now, and everybody, good morning. My name is Sinclair Stapleton from, you know where?
No, tell them.
Massa.
Massa.
Air Ambulance
Transport.
Association, where we save lives, so we speak in the same language.
Yeah.
Now, there's this thing called citizen's arrest, where if somebody does something wrong, you could actually, the citizens could get together and they could arrest him and take him to the station. Now, many times when I want to know if there are legislation in place for van drivers in particular, especially those driving and carrying our nation's children, and not even adults. There have been occasions where I've actually rode in a van and I had to ask the van driver, especially when you're going to places like Georgetown or Mespo, where we have planes on the road. I had to ask them, please, can you stop and let me out so I can catch another van? Do we have legislation in place, just like citizens' arrest, where perhaps when we see them drinking the alcohol or playing these type of music or driving at this particular speed, where we could probably, the cell phone is very popular now, where we could record them and bring this information to you, so then you can take follow-up action and arrest some of these van drivers who are going overboard and who putting our lives at risk and our nation's children's at risk. I don't know what the legislation speak to that, but we need some more flexibility as citizens to be able to take action on the spot with these reckless drivers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stapleton. No, CP, I don't want to say it, but you're not a regular listener on radio at all, boy. Let me tell you something, man. The police does be on the radio, on television, and social media every day, encouraging the citizens, the persons who the commuters, if there is an infringement, report it to the police. If you're not feeling comfortable going to the out district police, come to the traffic department. I have said that on numerous occasions. My officers have said it on numerous occasions. We have done it before. We are in the process of doing it, and we will continue to do it. As long as you, the person who is being offended, is willing to give the police a statement. No. If you're in a van and your right is being infringed upon, the police is not there with you. And you come to the police station and say, officer, I was driving in this van, 2476. And when I got to Belmont, the man came out the vehicle, go by Mama Shop, and they buy 2 Guinness. And they came in back. The driver started to drink, and the conductor started to drink. The last say, during that time, while you are being operating, the driver and conductor must not be under the influence of alcohol and drugs. So if you take out your, I don't want to say the word, phone, and people have a technical way of, thing and so on, and then watch it up, me now. What you really want? But, nobody want nothing. But guess what you're doing now? You're videoing them. Boy, them people really something else now. We make them send me package straight home to me. You hear me now? Technically, you are driving home the point in your mind, boy. You got this one, you're going home. And you, next morning, you come to the police. Now, we can lift that footage from your phone, from the IT department, they send you there, and we take a statement from you. He cook. Both of them cook. Yeah. But you have to be willing to go all the way, to bring some sort of respect to the commuters, man. It is not about driver and conductor alone. They play the music and they mash up your ear. When you go home and you get your grandchildren and you can't even hear when they say, Grandpa, where you want some water? You can't even hear nothing. Because they don't mash up your eardrum. And hear what happened now. They have this way of saying, man, you're old, it's a young people time. Watch. They would not, they probably might not live to see the age that you are if they're going with that speed. But what I am saying, technically, if your rights is being infringed upon, driver, load down the music for me. Why not go buy an old van if you want type of music and they will all this kind of behavior. And they, instead of they lower it down, they carry it up more so that they can't hear you when you talk. All of this could be right. And still sometimes when some people come to the station to make the report, they expect the police to investigate, carry out the thing, and they doesn't participate in giving a statement or to go to the court. They are afraid. Me not know if them go carry me again. Another piece of law say, while they are operating, if they refuse to take you up and carry you to your destination, that is an offense. It's just sometime last month we lock up a boy, a guy, let me say boy, a guy from out Diamond. He realized that the school child that he picked up belongs to somebody who would have reported them already. So when the child going in school, but he can't up and say, no, we not carry you. Mistake! The child go and tell the parents, and the parents see traffic. Guess what happened now? $600 a quote. But the people from the media, who media personnel they here? Nobody from the media they here. Only from the digital thing. Here what happened, those are things that should be highlighted in the papers and social media to show people that we have consequences for persons who are defaulting. You understand? So I'm advising you, if you are using public service transport and you believe that your rights is being infringed upon, don't hesitate. Come to the traffic department. We have police there that will take your complaint and able assist you in taking the matter to the court if there is enough evidence. Anybody else? Metro Sin.
You spoke about the cameras. Are they all in the urban area or we have in the rural? Because most of the time, you and I know that most of the speeding and all these kinds of things happen more in the rural areas.
The installment of the cameras is a work in progress. There are some areas that they are not being installed yet, but they are as far as I think Prospect, Brighton, around there. But it's a work in progress.
So they are going to be throughout St. Vincent?
Throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir. Metro again. Metro very active today, boy. I'm not saying that they are the best insurance, but Mr. Fidel Taylor go vex with me. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Courtney Phillips from Bankers St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yes.
Just had a question. In terms of how technology is advancing, what is the traffic function of the police to incorporate advanced technology in the operation? Asking because I know we have street lights right now, but they're not functional. However, we have many neighboring islands that have functioning street lights and these things. So what is the plan? Traffic lights, sorry. Right? What is the plan for the traffic functioning to incorporate more technology?
No, I don't know if the Bank of St. Vincent and Grenadines have spy inside the police barracks. Are they have spy around there? Because I have just submitted a document to the Director of Finance in respect of traffic lights. Now we have improved that by, as I said before, installing cameras. We are now in a better position to do more prosecution in terms of offenders. Because when persons are exiting these intersections and byroads and so on, where they would have gotten in accident or struck pedestrians and so on, we have used the cameras, the footage from the cameras, to prosecute them. And yes, we are thinking about bringing back street. Oh God, shouldn't. Yes, I have recommended that we bring back street lights because traffic lights. No, you have to forgive me because he's a street light, so I have to say. No, we are thinking about bringing back traffic lights. If the first world nations have traffic lights. So if we are thinking about bringing St. Vincent and Grenadines to a first world nation, we are thinking about bringing back traffic lights. I have not been an advocate of any thing, but it's just general improvement in our being, our development. Also,
Yeah.
oh yes, Mr. Metro.
Yes. Dwight De Silva from Metro Saint. 2 questions. One, you spoke about the cameras and the footage. Now, is that footage available to like the insurance companies? And if it's so, how do we get it? That's one. 2, in terms of license department, you said about safety and all of that. It's not really so much safety, but I think if you can connect all the licensing departments, because if you pay a license out Georgetown, it don't register in Kingston. You had to go back Georgetown to find out if it was paid. So my question is there anything coming in the future to link all these out stations and all of that, where you collect revenues for license and all of that, and make it readily available to the traffic officers them on duty at the time? So if you stop somebody, you could check it one time and deal with them, instead of you had to tell them, oh well, bring in your thing, you have 48 hours. So that's my 2 questions.
Yes. Does that answer your questions? Well, I said yes. You asked the question. So yes. Right. Boy, you know, information just spread fast. But I don't think they were ready for that to be in the public domain. I really don't know if I should answer that second part of the question too. But at present, we are in discussion, the Transport Board and the License Authority. We are in discussion to digitalize license, driver's license and motor vehicle license. So we are also trying to enhance the capacity of the police to have devices while they are on the roads that they can track your motor vehicle to see. But what we are still puzzled with is how we could incorporate the insurance companies into that. Wait, you think it's simple? It is not simple. We are trying to, because remember, apparently, the insurance companies probably have an oath of secrecy with them and their clients, in that the information that the law enforcement agencies might be seeking might be in breach of the client company thing. You understand? But we are trying to see how much we can incorporate the insurance companies into the new system that we are discussing. and I believe they will reach out. I don't know who they will reach out to, but I believe at some point the insurance companies will be represented when they're ready for them at that forum, because they want to incorporate everything. Because when you, at present, what happens is that the expiry date and insurance certificate number does not appear on the license sticker. But with the new system, it will appear on the license sticker and which insurance company. So what we are going to guard ourselves against is that if insurance company will be forthcoming or truthful to say whether or not, I know it might be your good customer, but boss, if at the time when there is an infringement, your vehicle ain't licensed, you might tell me the insurance company have 6 days, a clause to say whether 6 days after expiry date they can cover or what. So I don't know, because I have not read that on my certificate from Metrosin General Insurance Company. I don't know if it is there in the fine print in the big book, but on the certificate of insurance that they gave me, I am not seeing it there. So the police, the customer might get into an accident, or the police might lock up an unlicensed driver. And because you know their parents they are good, they register, they insure all their vehicles with you since they are getting vehicle. You want to be, scratch their back now. And they say, yes, this person's vehicle was insured. Time nothing go so. We want to see how we could incorporate the insurance companies, but you see the information must be truthful and forthcoming. But yes, to both questions, we are trying to enhance, because we are trying to move forward, man. Technology is on the, everybody now have a smartphone, and they have phone that do all kind of thing, and AI. Just now AI take over. Is AI? Artificial intelligence, that take over. Right, I see somebody hand in the back there, so. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. St. Hill Insurance.
St. Hill?
St. Hill, yes. My question is based off of really a situation that the insurance company face a lot, and that is sometimes, the police are the first responders to an accident, because they're the first person that are being called. And, when that happens, liability sometimes is being disputed because no one wants to accept, right? That being said, is it that the police can't give an opinion? The reason why I'm asking that is because sometimes when you ask for a police report, and sometimes it takes months to get that report, they just stick to the facts and not necessarily say, well, maybe A or B, Mr. A or Mr. B is wrong. So that's my question, basically. If you could help us out with that.
All right, here what happened. I don't think the police is the police duty at the scene to say whether who is right or wrong. But I could tell you that the insurance company can't tell me if me right or wrong. Because if I am driving, and this is personal, it might not be the policy of the insurance company. But if I am driving my motor vehicle along a road and I get in an accident, I must know if I am wrong. So if I accept liability, the insurance can't tell me, Brown, you can accept liability. No, I am not going to put anybody under any undue stress to say, because you don't know. If I am wrong and I tell you I am wrong, I am at fault. I am at fault. Just do what you have to do. If I have to pay my excess of $6,000 to you and you take care of the damage, do that. If you have to do an investigation before you honor my claim or the other person's claim, I understand. But if I tell you I am wrong, you can't tell me you're not going to cover me because I go and own for say I am wrong. No. Right, Mr. St. Hill? Man, you could talk, man. People go hear you.
Because sometimes, people are not truthful, right? So even though they know that they're
Well, I tell you, me, you know. I say me. Right. So, but I understand what you're saying, quite fully. Yeah, Lavelle. Ex-police, Sergeant Map.
Lavelle Map from Complete Accident Investigative
You hear that?
Services.
The accident investigator.
Now, before I ask this question, I'm going to give you a scenario. You go to a restaurant and you order food, but the food come with not enough meat, right? Whole set of different thing on the plate, not enough meat. And I say that and leave that there. I'm going to ask you the question now. We apply to the police as accident investigators for a police report. Takes forever. Sometimes years.
No.
Don't tell me no. Insurance here.
I say that.
The insurance. Listen, the insurance
Go ahead.
company here could support me.
Because they don't indicate to me that my time up, you know.
Right. I know you are run now. But before you run, answer this. Now, when the police report gets there, there's a whole bunch of mistakes. Not enough meat for you to go on. So you see where I come from with this scenario now?
Right.
So now you have to go back and do an accident, some investigation, take statement from everybody all over again. You understand? Sometimes some of the people, knowing that they're wrong, refuse to give you a statement. So you have to base your findings now on the police report, which don't have enough meat for you to go on.
I understand. Okay.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying. Sit down. Right. Map. Everything deals with timing. When it comes to accident report. Now, you might write and ask for accident report when the investigation is not completed. So it will take a little longer time, and the office that you applies for the accident report from, they are not the one who doing the investigation. You have the different districts, and you know, you as a police. So when an accident occurs in Georgetown and the officer is have to do his investigation, have to pass it through the channel to before it gets to where it have to get. And the correspondence come from you, go to headquarters, and it takes some time before it gets to the officer in charge, Eastern, which is from Georgetown, Canary, Sandy Bay area. So it will take some time. Earlier on, while I was delivering my little speech, I said you have to be patient. And patient is not a word that exists in a lot of people's mind or their vocabulary. Now, an accident report is a synopsis of the investigation. It's a summary. So it should have enough ingredients for you to determine, along with the measurements, for you to determine that this particular driver is at fault. It might not spell out to you clearly, but if you read the accident report, or when you read the accident report and you look at the measurements, you will clearly see that, no, Mr. Glasgow is at fault here. I am not saying that that is what you are getting, but I am saying what should, or how it should be. Because the report don't come from the traffic department, it comes from police headquarters. Right? So that is how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to give you enough information for you to determine or make up your mind as to who is wrong from right. Anybody else any question or concern? Right. People them say they're ready.
Hello, good morning. Elson King from K Electric Company. Not too much on a question, just a little pointers that sometimes we have trouble with. I don't know if it affects anybody else here, but we are a construction company, and from time to time we have to move large equipments from.
Construction company, AB?
Yes, please.
All those deposit a lot of strip in this on the road. Construction company. All the overloading them cement trucks and all the making the road. And me not say scale electric, you know, but me talk about the construction. You say construction. Making the roads uneven and unsafe. While government is responsible to create the roadway. You can't be a company making your own money creating a unsafe roadway when the government make it safe. Go ahead.
Yes, we tend to remove most of those deposits if deposits are made on the road,
Yeah.
right? We have guys that come and clean up those stuff after.
How often?
Right? As often as possible.
Oh.
Right? It's just to put a little adherence to the occupants on the road. That, as you said before, some of the roads are not really constructed for the motor vehicles that we have here sometimes. We have large semi-trucks and we have trailers that sometimes carry large equipment. Depending on the area that we have to maneuver sometimes, we need not to just use our lane that we are currently on, but we need to go on the opposite side.
K Electric be, right?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Right? Sometimes we have outriders. Right? Sometimes if we do not call on the actual police officers, we have an outrider like a driver that may go in a vehicle with a flashing light on the top with our hazard lights on. The trucks as well have these devices. But sometimes that when you're trying to flag down the occupants that are on the other side, if we need to take that corner, where we need to go on the other side, sometimes we don't have the patience, as you were saying, from those other occupants, where we're trying to be safe, so we're trying to save lives, that they don't either slow down or adhere to the instruction given by the individual or the outrider. I've seen it where the police officers that we may use sometimes, trying to flag them down, because there's something large coming around that corner that may cause harm or damage, not just to their vehicles, but occupants inside, and they don't adhere to it. Right? A second point is that sometimes, based on the capacity, the weight of the equipment, that we may not be able to stop on a certain hill. So we need to proceed. And it might be just us. There are other trailer trucks, reefers, trailers coming from ECGC, coming up hills and stuff, right? So we need y'all to understand, when you hear that horn coming or proceeding to the corner, be patient. Just
hear the horn, man, give it because all the only road.
we don't own the road, but at the same time, like you said, we're trying to be safe as possible, right?
Yeah.
So it's very difficult sometimes when you're proceeding to a very steep hill to have the driver to, completely stop on that hill and then to move off again. Because you might have occupants behind, you have people in front. So we're just trying to say to the general public that if you hear a horn or you see an outrider, flagging you down, we're not there for show and tell. We're actually trying to prevent, traffic, accidents. So a little, cooperation between the public and, all these semi-trucks and big trucks that you see on the road. Also, a second thing we need to add is some of the van drivers, they don't adhere to the bus stops. There are little junction and stuff.
Yeah,
I could point out the the community college one. We're swinging out by, what is that corner there, boy? But right after Palki, if you come into town, they don't pull off there. And I think the second one is on the hill as you come over the rise at the gym. They normally tend to stop on the hill. So you're obstructing traffic, and as you said, sometimes people tend to swerve on the side and come around. There's accidents could be happening. So it's just some little areas that probably traffic could take a look at and try to put a little pressure on them, so they tend to use the bus stop and give way to the traffic.
Thank you very much. I want to thank for those persons who would have asked their questions, and I hope that the answers that you would have got is satisfying. And I want you, Mr. K Electric, to invite Jaric. Tell your boss, invite Jaric by all the place and talk to your drivers. Not everybody who operates your vehicles are in full compliance. and companies like these, we need Jaric to come in and talk to all you. You brought them? So you know what, Jaric no more? Right. You attend? Now wait for them to have seminars. Do it regularly. Invite them. I mean, I don't know if you have to pay a small fine. They come and, but here what me know. If your drivers are in full compliance and so on, if they adhere and Jaric give them, it worth the while. Save your company and save them and their families, because if you have operators driving these trucks and they are key to your company, you want to save them. You understand? So each one depends on each one to for production and so on and so forth. I'm not an advocate of Jaric, but I mean, if they're doing something good, what would you do? Is just to encourage them and involve them, include them in your program, include them in your day-to-day run-ins, right? Excuse me? Me? I'm an advocate for the police law enforcement. Right. When vehicles are safe and enforcement is formed, lives are saved and communities thrive. That's my last statement to you. I want you to enjoy the rest of your day. I want you to listen to us attentively to the rest speakers and ensure that whatever you learned here today, you put it into practice so that you can become a safe driver where your safe vehicle save lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brong. That was a lot. I will say that Jaric and Vincent, we have been doing our part in terms of having our defensive driving training monthly. And Mr. Brong, I'm suggesting a meeting with Jaric, the insurance companies, and the police department, where we get some rules and regulations in place, especially for new drivers in terms of getting licensed. They should have at least have some form of defensive driving training. Truck drivers, when they're renewing their license, at least should be going through some form of defensive driving. We'll work something out. Mr. Brown, you're not listening me? So we need to organize a meeting. Insurance companies, we have Century right here, Metro Saint, we'll meet with the police. Mr. Brown will get something in writing. New drivers should have a certificate of defensive driving from Jaric. Truck drivers renewing their license and other drivers renewing their license. Some form of defensive driving training. Right, Mr. Brown?
I am just saying yes to the meeting. Going to the certificate, you have to say what.
Well, so we'll see.
Yes.
So I'm holding you to that. Okay then. We would continue. I would now like to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Erica Jordan, a general surgeon. Dr. Jordan is a 40-year-old Barbadian national who resides and works in St. Vincent as a general surgeon. Graduating summa cum laude and best international student of her graduating class of medical school in 2012, she then proceeded to her internship in St. Vincent, where she cemented her desire to become a surgeon. In 2021, she graduated again, top of her class, as a trained general surgeon from the Latin American School of Medicine in Santiago, Cuba. And in 2022, she gained her fellowship in minimal access surgery from the World Laparoscopic Training Institute. She is devoted to giving back in the community and as such is an active member of the Rotary Club and various charitable organizations. She believes that one's focus should not only be on treating established diseases, but also on the education of the general population with regards to one's health, empowering them with knowledge that would help them to be active participants in their healthcare, encouraging screening and alerting them to early warning signs of life-threatening diseases, so they may seek help early, allowing for better overall outcomes. Please welcome Dr. Erica Jordan.
Good morning, everyone. Now, before I start, right? Thank you, Jaric, for inviting me today to this wonderful audience. But I invite you to stand. Everybody stand. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stretch. Stamp your feet, shake. Get that blood circulating again. And then we can sit back down. So you don't fall asleep on me today. Okay? Stretch, take the time you need, stretch, wiggle, and then we're going to start. Jaric, Mr. Kipps, and Miss Belingi, do I need to stay here and present? Okay, thank you. May I have, I can move this or I can get the mic that I can move? I can move this one? Okay, thank you. That's okay. They can go for snacks because they can get snacks and listen. We can all multitask, right? Okay, wonderful. Safe drivers save lives. That's the World Health Organization slogan for 2025 in terms of traffic safety. But I was asked today to speak about the health impacts of road traffic accidents. So in doing that, we look at the incidents and risk factors, understanding the consequences and causes of accidents. Move forward. Overview and global context. What are we talking about here? High mortality, injury and rate. Road traffic accidents cause 1.9 million deaths yearly. 20 to 50 million injuries occur worldwide. But we might say, what does that really have to do with us? It's the leading cause of death for young children aged 5 to 29 years old. Why 5 years old? Because that's the age we start to go to school, right? So that's when traveling and moving from place to place places you in a vulnerable position to be involved in accidents. Countries use 3% of their gross domestic product. I don't know if we have any accountants in here, but 3% of the money that a country makes goes into dealing with accidents each year. And it's actually more expensive in developing countries because it goes up to 5%. 90% of fatalities occur in low and middle income countries. And they say we actually have about 60% of the world's vehicles. Next slide, please. Again, the US, now, when you state an incident, you find a lot on media about US statistics. And in 2020, the US reported 38,824 deaths and 2.3 million injuries. High fatality rates still persist, especially among young, vulnerable populations. Understanding these incident rates allows policymakers to implement evidence-based prevention strategies. And that is why we're here today, because Jaric is going to teach you all how to become better drivers, making it safer. So we need these numbers, although to a lot of people they don't make sense. So let's go to the next slide and bring it down to the Caribbean. Regional focus, Caribbean and St. Vincent. Because to hear about the 38,000 accidents in the States means nothing to us. The Caribbean experiences 110,000 road fatalities and over 5 million injuries annually. Just the little Caribbean, CARICOM Islands, over 110,000 accidents. 5% of our gross domestic product goes towards managing these accidents. And in St. Vincent, I was actually surprised to hear the other statistics because online I actually found 845 accidents for 2023. The persons that know better than me quoted 545, 504, and 560. 9 deaths last year, 7 so far for the year. And if you have ever seen someone that has demised in a road traffic accident is not an easy thing to see, because they die from extensive injuries, severely polytraumatized patients. And polytraumatized means that you affecting 2 or 3 major systems in your body. Your brain get damaged, your chest get damaged, your circulatory system is damaged, the skeletal systems, broken bones, all from road traffic incidents. Risk factors. What are risk factors that we are looking at? Behavioral risk factors. Superintendent Brown spoke a lot about that. What are the risky behavior that we do on the road that cause the accidents? Driving under influence, distracted driving, mobile phone. Males and young drivers. The insurance companies, when you go to get your insurance, if you're under 25 or you haven't been driving for a certain amount of years, you know that it's higher. You pay more money, because there are the groups that are more at risk for causing accidents. Environmental risk factors. We know that the infrastructure in St. Vincent is not the best. We do have some unsafe roads, but knowledge is power, right? So if you know where the road isn't the safest, that means that you're supposed to be driving your most cautious around those areas. High-risk population and vulnerable groups. I can read this one. Pedestrians, cyclists, and motorcyclists represent over half of global road traffic deaths, highlighting their vulnerability. Anybody in here walking? Pedestrians? Anybody in here ride bicycles to work? Anybody in here riding a motorcycle? Those are the people that are most affected. But let me ask another question. Who in here drove today? Who in here owns or manages, drives a vehicle? And then let me ask it different. Who in here has a license? Nearly everybody, right? So we pose the danger, you know. Although the cyclists and them are the vulnerable population, we are the persons out there that make them vulnerable, because we are the dangerous persons on the road. And I'm glad to see, I see Vinlec, I see ECGC, I see K Electric, I see the insurance companies, the accident investigators, the bank. We have a wide range of persons that are actually actively involved in helping road safety become something of a norm here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And before I forget, I just want to say thanks to Jaric for this initiative here today. Moving forward. Health impacts, because that's why I'm here, right? That's what I'm actually here to speak about. Traumatic brain injury. That is a lovely way of saying that you hit your head. The brain is the computer of our body. If you have a traumatic brain injury affecting your computer system, can the rest of your body function adequately? It can't. Traumatic brain injuries are severe injuries causing long-term cognitive, emotional, and physical impairments like memory loss and motor dysfunction. This causes an extensive need for rehabilitation. Early diagnosis and prevention is important. And improved public awareness and emergency response systems help decrease the traumatic brain accidents on survivors. Why do I say this? Sometimes you go to help persons that may have been involved in an accident. And you think you are doing the correct thing, but you are not. You see them in a position, you said, boy, let me move them out of the way. Because the car hit, they can't breathe, they're unconscious, they're inside. and we're actually causing more damage than good. Because if you are not educated and prepared to know how to safely move that individual, leave them alone until the knowledgeable persons reach. Because when we damage or further damage our brain, this person can be severely affected for the rest of their life. And the chest good, the arms good, they don't have any broken bones, they don't have anything else physically wrong with the rest of their organism. But we have destroyed the modem, so the modem can't work. And as a direct result, everything else becomes impacted. Now let me ask a question. Who do you all think is the population within the vulnerable persons that suffer from most traumatic brain injuries? The bikers. Somebody said bikers. Say it loudly. And why the bikers? Inadequate protective equipment. They're wearing is German helmets and not the fully enclosed helmets that are made to cushion an impact when you are traveling at high velocities. Traumatic brain injuries. First, really deadly human impact. Spinal cord damage. And touch a spinal cord for me. Show me where your spinal cord is. Somebody know? Thank you. Right here, right? Right along our spine. Your spinal cord starts from up here. Right here. And some persons think that when the persons get in an accident and they can't move their legs and they become paralyzed, paraplegic, it happens down here. No, it doesn't. When you get in an accident and you can't move your legs, your damage is actually in your thoracic vertebra, up here, in your chest. Because it's like if the nerves are running in a downward position. So your thoracic region, by the time you get to T10, and I'm getting a little complicated, you don't have any movement in your feet. But more than that, when you destroy or damage your cervical spine, your neck, you can stop breathing. C6 and down, that is right. You know, if you feel the back of your neck, you feel like a little protrusion, a little bony part. That is the area that if you have any damage between there and the base of your skull, can cause you to be paralyzed. And you go and you ask the person, move your feet for me, I can't. Move your hands for me, I can't. Move your shoulders. And when I see a patient, if I'm responding to an accident and I'm seeing that person on the scene or an accident, an emergency, and they can shrug their shoulders, I know they'll be able to breathe. It's something so simple, because if you can shrug your shoulders, the level that the nerves come down that control your breathing is intact. But if you go to an accident and you ask the person, shrug your they're not moving. They're not moving their feet. They're not moving their hands. Shrug your shoulders for me. And they can't move their shoulders. That person is in imminent danger, because soon they're going to stop breathing. Health impacts of accidents. Spinal cord injury causes paralysis, impacting mobility and severely reducing quality of life for victims. Long-term medical care and rehabilitation are often necessary for spinal cord injuries. Victims and families face significant psychological stress and financial challenges after injuries. Preventative safety measures, using seat belts. Enforcing vehicle safety standards and tests. Seatbelts save lives. I heard that as a child, right? Go forward. Sorry. All right. Thank you. Fractures and internal organ injuries. Common fracture sites: arms, legs, ribs, pelvis. Majority of pelvic fractures do not arrive alive to the hospital, or they die in accident and emergency when you have a severe pelvic fracture. So we see the hands and the broken legs and stuff, and we think that it looks gruesome. But those are things that actually can be fixed, the majority of them, in the hands of trained professionals. But you see the pelvic fractures? The pelvic fractures are what actually cause the majority of loss of life, because you damage a lot of the major vessels from the broken bones. And the bleeding is so extensive, but on the inside, so we can't see it. So when we see the broken legs and the outward bleeding, we say, oh, this is bad. But you go to the accident scene and the person is up and aware, but unable to move their legs, complaining for pain in their hips. That is one of the first persons you're rushing to the hospital, because that is one of the most vulnerable persons, because pelvic injuries cause the most deaths in terms of fractures from road traffic accidents. Another fracture that is common, and it comes from not wearing your seatbelt, sternal fractures. You fly forward and you hit into the steering wheel. Van drivers, be cautious. The passengers that are usually directly seated behind the driver, when the driver crashes and they slide forward and strike their legs in the box that the conductor likes to sit down on, fracture up all of their legs. And sometimes the force of the fracture causes them, the force of the impact, to fracture their pelvis. Driving with your feet up on the dashboard. Internal organ damage. Internal injuries can damage vital organs and need immediate attention to prevent complications. Sometimes we don't see the bleeding on the outside, but the actual trauma, the force of the impact, shatters your major organs, especially those that contain a lot of liquid. Your liver, and you start to bleed out on the inside. You strike your left side and you fracture your spleen. You can have kidney damage. You can actually burst your intestine just from the impact of the actual kinetic energy being transferred from motion into your body that cannot resist that force. The same injuries that fracture your sternum, sometimes we don't see the sternal fractures, sometimes we don't see the rib fractures, but they come in with lung contusions and they are unable to breathe adequately simply because the lungs became damaged because of the force of the impact. What is not there? The small lacerations, soft tissue damage. But soft tissue damage can cause you a severe whiplash injury. And in the whiplash injury, no bones are broken. It is just a soft tissue, the muscles in your neck that are damaged. What's the word that I learned when I came here? You call it pork? Pork, right? I only learned that in accident and emergency from the motorcycle men that came in, and they come up with all the burnouts. And then you see their friends come and say, nah, man, he okay. He just have a lot of pork all over his... And I was like, pork? And then someone mentioned to me, no, they mean the ground, the bruises, the friction burns, the soft tissue damage. These, although they may not be life-threatening, are extremely painful. Prevention strategies, vehicle safety improvements, and protective gear usage effectively reduce injury severity and long-term disability. If you are driving adequately and using the correct protective measures and corrective gear for the vehicle that you are traveling in, it means that if you become involved in an accident, you are less likely to suffer life-threatening damage. Next slide, please. Now, mental health is an important thing. How many persons in here have ever been involved in an accident? You all ever dreamt about that accident afterwards? You all ever lay down at night and you can't dream about it because you can't sleep? Because you start to think back and say, boy, I was in my first motor vehicle accident at 18 years old. Friday night, feel nice, out liming. 5 of us in the vehicle. My then boyfriend, because you feel you're big at 18, was driving, and we speeding going along the highway in Barbados. Rain was falling, and it wasn't falling heavily. It was just a little drizzle rain. And music playing. I remember I was in the front seat, and I had on no seatbelt because I was turned on the side, facing the driver, and talking to the persons in the back seat. Because, we're young, and that's what we do out of ignorance. And a driver came out of a side road directly in front of us. And that driver then stopped when he recognized the car was so close behind him. So what we did, we wanted to avoid the accident. We pulled off. But when we pulled off into oncoming traffic, we saw the headlights in front of us. So what did we do? We pulled back in. And the car did like this, whoosh, right across the road. Flipped about 10 times. And it only stopped flipping because it struck a tree. And when it struck the tree, it came back down. I remember moving towards the window when the car started to flip. And the driver at the time reached out and grabbed my dress. And I believe that's the only reason that I'm alive today. 5 of us, ranging from 17 to 19, vehicle written off. And I did not want to drive in another vehicle. I did not want to get into another car to get home. The then driver of the vehicle, his father had to force him to drive again. Said, come, sit down. You have to drive again. You're only 19. Accidents happen. Because we do not pay enough attention to post-traumatic stress disorder. The mental disturbance that comes after road traffic accidents. And it's not only for the victims involved in the road traffic accident, but for their family members. Because after getting the call in the middle of the night that your daughter flipped off of the highway, that call when you ask one of the passers-by, lend me your phone, please. And you call home and you say, Mommy, I just got in an accident. I sure my mother's heart was trembling every time that I left home again with the same guys to go and drive. Right, Mommy? You can say yes. The psychological effects may continue long after physical healing, impairing daily life and quality. Long after the broken bones mend. And long after you can breathe again, long after you've gone through physical therapy and you are able to reincorporate into your daily lives, the psychological impact of that accident oftentimes still remains. How do we support this? Mental health support and counseling are crucial for effective recovery and improved quality of life. Long-term burden. Physical and cognitive effects. I damaged my knee when I was about 23, 24. And every time the rain is about to fall, at 40 years old, I can tell you, because my right knee is stiff. And I am walking and it starts to pain me. And I look outside and I say, the rain set up. And that is a chronic result of an injury I sustained almost 16 years ago. The damage from accidents is sometimes lifelong. The pain, the disability, your inability to move and incorporate into your normal quotidian day-to-day lifestyle can be severely impaired. Permanent disability victims and their inability to work and perform everyday tasks. I sit on the medical disability board, and I see accident victims that come looking for, as Vincentians call it, poor relief, right? Because they were involved in an accident several years ago, and it left them so severely impaired that they were never able to return to work and incorporate into their regular lifetime. Financial and society costs. It is not cheap to tend to an accident victim. ICU costs are high. We don't see as much because the government subsidizes significantly the burden of our accident victims. But have to travel overseas and spend a day in ICU and be quoted the 7,000 to 10,000 US for 1 day of ICU stay to see what it is like when we have the severe accident victims that come into hospital, multi-system damage, and spend sometimes 10 to 14 days in ICU, sometimes on life support. It costs not only the government, but the families. Because if your main breadwinner was the person involved in the accident and they can no longer work, and I'm just picking on the insurance companies when they say St. Hill and Metro St. refuse to pay out. What then happens? What then happens? Sometimes loss of livelihood directly transcribes into loss of home. Bank of SVG calling you because you can't pay your mortgage anymore. And all of this due to what some may say a simple road traffic accident. Rehabilitation programs and social support are essential to victims to aid in their recovery and to reintegrate into society. Prevention strategies. I only made this slide to make mention because I know you have a full afternoon of training coming ahead where you all will deal with safe system components, law enforcement and education, infrastructure enhancements, and collaborative efforts. That is why the governments and the non-governmental organizations are here, because communities must work together to implement and sustain effective traffic safety measures. I have come to the end of my presentation. Do we have any questions? I come into you, that's okay. Oh, the mic is behind you.
Hi, my question is, what would be the best positions as passengers and drivers of vehicles to prevent, well, you can't prevent everything, but at least anything major? So like in particular, let me give an example. I'm in the passenger seat. Mm-hmm. Should I keep my feet extended? Should I keep it bent? What would be?
Firmly planted on the ground in a seated position. Not legs crossed, not foot on dashboard. 5 persons to it. The thing is, the things that keep us safe are clearly outlined in the laws of the land. We're laughing, but we're serious. 5 persons to a vehicle maximum, a standard vehicle. But sometimes we have a family of 4 children, So we place all 4 children in the back seat, not realizing that we're putting them at risk because they only have 3 seat belts. How many persons sit in the back seat with their seatbelt on? I am guilty of not doing it as well.
Sometimes.
In my car, you have to put on your seatbelt in the front seat. And also because baby, that's the name of my car, she will not start to keep noise unless you buckle your seatbelt. But sometimes we take for granted that the simple things that we do put us more at risk in accidents. You are supposed to be seated, facing forward, both feet safely and firmly planted on the ground. Not crossed, not on the dashboard, not in the seat next to you, and with seat belts placed on. Next question.
Yeah, I have next question as well. On this side. For the driver.
Sorry.
Arms
yes, please.
extended, arms bent. You put the seat up so you're like this, or you have to be like that. What is the best way?
I think you're asking the wrong person that question. Because the persons that taught you all to drive would have taught you all the adequate positioning to drive. I can just tell you that due to the position of the driver, because they have their hands on the steering wheel during the accident, they are more likely to suffer from broken bones in the upper extremities, and due to the actual organization of the car where the steering wheel is in front of you, you are more at risk for sternal damage and lung damage if you are in a direct impact due to the force that carries you forward, causing you to strike the steering wheel. You had a question?
Yeah, I don't know what's the policy of A&E in terms of assessing persons on arrival there. But I have seen where you outlined a while ago, according to your injury, you can either die according to what injury you sustain in respect of your spine, or it will prevent you from breathing for a particular time. And I have seen where persons will have gone to A&E after involved in an accident, and the time they take to assess to know whether or not what level of degree of injury that this person would have sustained is the time that they take to die. And I don't know what is the policy of A&E, and or if the medical persons there do things according to their feelings. I don't know, but it's left much to be desired, the way how they will look at people or treat people when they arrive at A&E in terms of what level of attention is being given to them on arrival day when it comes to accident.
Thank you. Now, each system has their faults, and no one person or no one department is perfect. I, as an employee that works at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, will extend apologies. However, I don't work in accident and emergency department. I did for a brief stint in my career, but I don't work there. We are continuing training because the triage is important. Knowing how to evaluate persons as they come into accident and emergency, and also knowing how to determine priority of care. What I will tell you is that persons that have suffered such severe damage should not be coming into accident and emergency. I want to use loosely the term on their own transportation, because sometimes it's necessary. I think I'm on maternity leave, but I still keep track of what goes on in the hospital. And just last week, Friday, if I am not mistaken, there was a mass casualty event. And normally when we get a call about an accident, the ambulance goes out, accompanied by one of the mass casualty trained nurses. They assess the scene and they report back saying, well, I can start transporting victims. We need more help on site or what. And at that time, the accident that went out to that, the ambulance that went out to that accident, the nurse at the time reported back the ambulance is coming with 2 persons and 7 persons coming in private vehicles. Because they would have tried to do as best as they could on the scene, but it was a necessity to move those persons quicker than you would have been able to get enough ambulances on the scene to move them. But I am saying, if you find yourself in an accident, you're moving all of your limbs, but you find yourself, your head dizzy, you know you're passed out, you had chest pain or something, please seek medical attention before you by yourself move to come to the hospital. It seems strange what I am telling you, but it is important. Because sometimes you go through an accident and you don't feel like if you really hurt, but because you have insurance and you know you're going to have to submit a medical report to the insurance, we decide that we're going to accident and emergency or one of the doctors. And when you really get checked out, you are experiencing more damage than you actually initially thought that you did. When you come to accident and emergency, state clearly, I was involved in an accident. If I had loss of consciousness, if I am not breathing well, let the nurses know. Because when you come through the front door and when you come through fresh wound or the ambulance bay, the care as in the speed of attention is different. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes, please, officer. Mm-hmm.
And I do not have first aid training. I'm not speaking from a police standpoint.
No, I'm following you.
Just generally. But my friend is in pain. He's there. We called for the ambulance half an hour ago. But he's in pain. The shoulder movement is more or less lessening. How should I remove that person from the vehicle?
You want me to answer you politically correct or otherwise? No, I'm being serious. Because when you do mass casualty training and you do first aid training, they always tell you safety first. So you don't approach the burning vehicle unless that fire is outed. Because you have to protect yourself so that then you can administer first aid to the persons that need it. Putting that one side. The emotional aspect of us will say, take the person out of the vehicle and move them. Unless you're trained to adequately move that person, if you do move them, just know that that person can then turn around, although you saved their life, and sue you and say, you saved my life, right? But in moving me, you caused further injury, and now I am suffering from a disability for the rest of life. How would that person know that? How would they know that? Because someone will have to testify and tell them, the doctor will have to say, not me, not Erica Jordan. But yes, someone will have to testify and say, from the forensic analysis of this vehicle and how you were in the accident and stuff, it was the movement that caused the damage.
But you see, the officer is charged with the responsibility of saving life and protecting property.
Yes.
Saving lives and protecting property.
But is the untrained officer that doesn't know how to adequately move patients authorized or rather capacitated to move a damaged or a affected, an injured individual. No. Sometimes in attempting to save lives, you cause more injuries.
I understand, but the most important thing there is saving lives.
No, the most important thing that should be coming out from this is to adequately train all of our first responders so they know how to act in different situations. That is what we need to do. Not tell the officer, save the life. Train and capacitate them so that they know how to respond in that situation. And then not only do they save their lives, the person's lives, and the long-term repercussions from what can happen in that instance to both individuals. The disability to the person and the possible lawsuit that come in to the police force.
If we have to look at what will come after, we are going to disobey the law. Now, the law did not say a trained force aid officer must be capable of moving. You see, the duty of a police officer is to save lives and protect property. The additional training that can come, you understand? But initially, they did not say a trained force officer or who is trained in force aid can save lives. Now, if I am going to instill that in a young police officer's mind, he
won't want to do it.
He might not want to do that.
So let me add something to this scenario. A staff sergeant? Okay. You see the person in the vehicle. They show signs of respiratory distress. You take it upon yourself to move the person from the vehicle. As soon as you move that person from the vehicle, as soon as you literally grab them under their shoulder to move them, that person starts breathing. How you feel knowing you just killed the man?
That's why he's not dead. Because he's not a medical person. It takes you to come to say that the man is dead.
Time we're going to take. Remember, at the time, the person is showing signs of being alive. You already called for medical assistance. It will take you 1 hour, 2 hours before that assistant can reach on the scene. The person who you want to save might just collapse. In that same vein, the family is going to sue you.
No, the police won't charge you. Exactly,
No.
They will charge you for involuntary manslaughter.
You have to look at the legislation of the land. Because I am not telling you that that person that was in that vehicle wasn't, okay, suppose the person in the vehicle stopped breathing and you decide they stop breathing, so you're moving them. But if that person, I am saying, I am here, I am moving. Let me make it personal. Let me put it real personal. Earlier this year, at 3 o'clock in the morning, my cousin called me from Barbados and said, they call me Dion. Dion, my father fall down and he is not moving. I said, how you mean he fall down? She said, he went out drinking and he came inside and the other persons in the house heard the commotion, and when they came out to see what was going on, he was on the ground and he's not moving. He can't pick up himself. I said, watch me. She wasn't at the place. I said, go there quickly. Turn on the camera and show me how he's doing. When I watched him, it's a little corridor going to the door. He came in, bent down to slide the sliding bolt, and I don't know if he was too drunk or not. He fell, struck his head, but no, all of that is coming afterwards. All I am seeing is him laying on the floor. I said, Uncle D, move your foot for me. Can't move it. Uncle D, Move your hands for me. Can't move them. Uncle D, lift your shoulders for me. He lifted one. I said, Daniel, call the ambulance. That is my cousin. His neck is fractured. His neck is broken. He can move his shoulder, so he's still breathing good enough. But if you move him out of position, and that is a bad break, he's going to die on you right there in that corridor. So I am using that situation to say that sometimes we mean well, because you see your father fall down, he's not moving, and the first thing you're going to look to do is to move that individual. But when the ambulance came and the paramedics got out and they assessed the situation, they put on the C-collar to stabilize the spine, and then they moved him. Could he have stopped breathing right there and then? He could have. Had she tried to move him and move him inadequately, he would have. He went to the hospital. CT scan showed the same thing that I'm saying. C-spine fracture. C6 fracture. Went to surgery to fuse the bones, but right now he is still unable to move any of his limbs. He has life, but severely disabled. I am just using those things as an analogy to say some things we mean well. But sometimes in doing what we mean well, we cause more damage. And only the trained eye knows. Only the doctor might speak to the family and say, it's the police that moved that man and kill you, you know. But I am saying, and I am not casting blame, I am saying that forums like this are important to show, not just teach, but to show where we're falling short. And then to put measures in place to give adequate training. Because in my bio, they said knowledge is power. And when we are knowledgeable, then we can act accordingly for the well-being of everyone.
If I get this, very good discussion, all right, and very good presentation. Just two things. Well, let me touch on the question that the young lady asked, all right, in relation to the position, the hand positioning. Now, 20 years ago, all right, we had that same discussion would come up, all right, and they will tell you there's a certain position, all right. Now, that was before the introduction of full-scale use of the airbag, all right. So now that we have the airbag, hand positioning, right, takes on a new meaning. What is very important, and based on research, all right, 10 to 2, well, 10 and 2, the hand positioning, 10 o'clock, you look at the clock, 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Because what will happen in a frontal crash, the airbag will deploy, yeah, and will move your hands in any case, yeah. However, if your hand is in this position, if the airbag deploys and your hand is holding the steering like this, and that is because you're holding the steering like this because you are backed here, right? What will happen? The airbag is going to hit your hand and it's going to break it in about 10 places. So, I mean, and this is from research. It's going to break your hand in about 10 places. If you look at race car drivers, and they're like this, right there. It's right here. It's not there. It's right here. So hand positioning, very important, very good question. Yeah. I just want to touch on the crash scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. No, I'm not saying that at all. All right. You should be at least 10 inches away from the steering wheel, at least. You remember, we have taller people, shorter people. It all depends on the position. Yeah. So right here, yeah. Because remember, the airbag. Again, you have an airbag, right? How the airbag, if you understand how the airbag works, all right? The airbag is deployed by an explosion, basically an explosion, rapid release of gas. nitrogen oxide, yeah? And what will happen in faster than you can think, the airbag deploys and you hit the airbag. Now, it is not designed to happen the other way around. Yeah? The airbag is not designed to hit you. The airbag is designed for you to hit it. Yeah? If the airbag hits you, it's going to kill you. And that is why on the airbag module you will see SRS. Yeah? What that means is secondary or supplementary restraint system, which means that the airbag is not your primary restraint system. Which means if you're not wearing the seatbelt, if you're not seated properly, the airbag will hit you and it will break your neck. Children, the airbag would hit children and send them straight through the rear windscreen if they're not belted. And that includes unbelted passengers in the rear seat. So I see a lot of parents, and you spoke about that, they put their children in the back seat and they think they're safe. They are not safe. Two things going to happen. One, in a crash, they're going to leave the back seat and go straight through the front windscreen. One. I don't know how many of you have seen it. The police officers may have seen it. You go in a crash scene, right, and you see a little hole in the windscreen. And you're wondering what went on there. A child is somewhere out there because they went straight through the windscreen from the back seat. The next thing, that backseat passenger causes so much injury in that vehicle during a crash because you're in front, you're belted, and that passenger in the rear seat comes forward and hits you or hit one of the belted passengers in the front seat. Yeah? And of course, all the injury that we spoke about. Now, according to the International Safety Council, right, we do a lot of research at the International Safety Council, which I'm a part of. In 2010, the United Nations looked at road safety and vehicle-related crashes, all right? And they deemed it a pandemic in 2010. They made some interventions. One of the interventions that they made, or the intervention that they made, was based on 5 pillars. One of those pillars was safe vehicles, right? Hence the topic we're dealing with today, safe vehicles. Another very important pillar was treatment at the crash scene. And that is what we were just speaking about. Treatment of the injured at the crash scene. One of the things we realized when we did the research is by the time we get the injured to the primary care facility, which is the doctor, we get them to the hospital, to the primary care facility. What happens at the crash scene determines not only if the person lives, but the quality of life thereafter. And that is why the decision to move an injured person or any person from a vehicle becomes very important. All right, so I don't know the mechanics with the law and that kind of thing. I'm staying away from that. Yeah. However, that decision at the scene has to be taken very carefully. Quite recently, there was a crash on, I think it was the VG highway going up on that stretch there. And on social media, somebody sent me a picture. So there was a crash, and you're seeing 2 guys holding the guy, lifting him out of the vehicle. I was like, yeah, they just killed the man. Yeah? So the decision to move, and you know, I totally understand what you said with, you know, the officers, your thing is saving life. Yeah? That decision, and not just the police officers, but any one of us here, because we have a thing in the Caribbean, we come up, we see a crash, and the first thing we want to do is take the people out. the first thing we want to do is take the people out. Listen to me. Vehicles is only blow up like that in the movies. It takes a lot for a vehicle to explode. Yeah? A lot for a vehicle to explode. But if there is imminent danger, then, this one I know for sure, you are covered under something called the Good Samaritan law. So that if you are acting as a Good Samaritan, yeah, then you're insulated from that type of, action in court. But, so, basically, what we're saying here is the research has shown that at the crash scene, the treatment that is given at the crash scene determines, in the most part, the outcome at the primary care facility. Yeah? So that's...
Okay. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much, Jaric, for inviting me here today. It was a pleasure.
Okay, so Mr. Brown is now just telling me that we need to start coordinating some first aid training for his officers. Yes?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
We need to do that.
Yeah, so Jaric is very...
We have the good knowledge of Dr. Air and so on and so forth.
And we have our first aid instructor. That's our first aid instructor right there. Mrs. Jackson right there. That's our first aid instructor. So you see, we really have to have the meeting, Mr. Brown. We would have a meeting, we sit down and we talk out all the details. First aid and everything, right? Thank you so much, Dr. Jordan, for that insight. We're almost to lunch, but just before we go to lunch, I'm just going to invite Miss Colleen Fraser just to do a brief remark. Then we would take our lunch break. So just a few minutes.
So don't worry, I won't be long. Since Jaric has been in St. Vincent, Metro St have always partnered with them in workshops and defensive safe training like these. So I just want to give a brief remarks from Metro St. We at Metro St, the first indigenous insurance company of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, are delighted to be a part of this morning's seminar, Safe Driver 784 Road Safety Seminar 2025 for Road Safety Week 2025. Under the theme, Safe Vehicle, Save Lives. This is indeed a timely message, as we would have heard from all the presenters this morning. As daily, we continue to witness and read of casualties and fatalities right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in our neighboring islands, and in the world at large. Metro St Insurance Company opened its doors on 31st December 1968. We began as a motor insurer, then branched out into private property, commercial property, marine liability, and all types of insurance coverage. We are a one-stop insurance shop, as our sister company also offers life insurance coverage. MetroLife for Pan-American Insurance. Soon, we will be 57 years old. We have stood the test of times and are still navigating through the storms and the ever-changing requirements to ensure that we provide excellent and adequate coverage to our motor and property clients in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Metro St has over the years partnered with other stakeholders, the government, police, insurance association, and yes, Jaric, to continue to educate and sensitize all on road safety in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It is no doubt that our roads have and continue to be dangerous to drive and walk. We all can attest to this as we are all road users. We have all been witnessing more and more accidents on the road, and not just collisions, but more critical and fatal accidents. This topic is very timely, and yes, safe vehicle save lives. Therefore, we all need to ensure that we do our part to save lives. One death count through accidents is far too many. Surely, as an insurer, we scroll quickly when we see a collision showing up on social media, or when we hear the news of a fatal or critical accident. Yes, you may say, oh, they don't want to pay out, but that is not the point. No money can bring someone back to life, and no money can bring your body back to where it was after a critical accident. Your body is never the same after a surgery. As we advance in technology, so too are the vehicles. We are now into the hybrid and electric era. So all stakeholders must ensure that our systems and the like are upgraded to meet the times and changes that will confront us. Our body repair men and mechanic must ensure that they increase their knowledge to doctor the vehicles when they are presented to them. We all must work towards ensuring our roads are safer for all. We, as an insurer, are committed to work and collaborate with the government, the police, insurance association, organizations such as Jaric to ensure that the vehicles driving on the roads are roadworthy. And this morning, I just wish that we had minibus owners and drivers and rental companies owners here this morning. So those who are taking notes, let's ensure that the next time we get to some of these persons and ensure that they are a part of workshops like these. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Fraser. This session has been very informative, entertaining, I must say as well. So we are now going to take a break. We're now going to do lunch, and we would be back at 1:45. So it's a half-hour lunch. So we would be at 1:45 to continue the session. So thank you guys so much for being here, and we now do lunch.